So today I'm going to use the Aquarian Tarot. I was just kind of drawn to that deck. I'm going to do a Celtic cross spread, which is what I'm most familiar with. And then I'm kind of going to do something different and clarify a few cards before I flip them up with the Wild Unknown deck. And I just got this new little playing card deck from a hardware store, and I love it. The pictures are all, country landscapes, and it's really good. So I'll kind of get into that deck a little bit too. Yeah. What do we have for Gemini? My Gemini friends. Gemini is one of my favorite astrological signs. They're always making me laugh. They're always so clever and witty, and it's like they don't even try to be, they just... A lot of Geminis I know sort of have this mystique about them. I don't know if it's because the sign falls in my 8th house, which is a very mysterious house, a very transformational house. So there's always this like mystical aura about the Geminis I know, and they've always got this, twinkle in their eye, like this gem in their eye, and I just love it. And yeah, so let's get into this. This is where you are, what helps or hinders you, your foundation, your past, your goals and ideas, and your near future. So you have your approach to the situation, your environment, what is needed to know, and the outcome. Okay, so I'm feeling I need some clarity on the first few cards already. Take that. The outcome in the near future are kind of calling to me. Okay, so no, I was confused there. This card here is what is needed to know. So I always like to draw another card for what is needed to know in the spread as well, because I always like to get more information than I have, and I think sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, like, we'll just see how it goes, and yeah, for your goals and ideas. Okay. Okay. Okay, so right now you feel like you have two decisions you have to make, and you're kind of being forced to make a decision because things are coming to an ending point, and this decision it's something you need to really, really get quiet for, to allow yourself to really allow your intuition to tell you what you need to do, and you need to go with a decision that feels right for you. Of course, but this is leaving something behind, and you don't exactly want to make this decision quite yet, because you feel like this unknown is quite... You don't know what's going to happen, and that's a little tricky for you, so you might have some, Taurus in your chart as well. Taurus like to stay with what's familiar to them, because the idea of change and kind of moving away from everything that kind of makes you comfortable and helps you feel grounded, it's kind of... It's difficult to wrap your mind around that, so... But... Really, this decision, you'll realize as soon as you start to get really quiet with yourself and really in tune with your natural rhythms, you'll start to pay attention to where where your intuition's speaking to you when you think about the decision, like the pros and cons of each decision. So going through that will help, making a list of the pros and cons for each side. Each side of the coin, flipping a coin even might be a good idea, but I feel like you're just at this point too where things are coming to an end. You have to move on, because you need a new landscape, and you need to water your flowers, they're crumbling almost. You need to make the decision so you can walk towards this new landscape and water it and allow it to grow in a way. So yeah, getting really quiet with yourself. The Two of Swords is shown here for what is going to help you. And I don't see this as a hindrance if you're getting quiet with yourself. It's a hindrance if you stay stagnant. This is more... It's a better thing if you're, she's shown with a blindfold on, and I think that's kind of saying to me, if you shut your sight off, you listen, you get really quiet, and you allow your thoughts to kind of quiet down as well, and then you're more in tune with what your internal voice is saying to you, rather than what external things are saying to you. Like, this decision needs to come from you, so you will have a good idea of where to move forward. Your path will become more clear. So yeah, really becoming quiet, as I keep saying. Like, when your mind is racing all the time, which I know is a thing for Gemini too, they're very they have to keep themselves preoccupied, but that's not... I know it can be good, but if you're procrastinating making this decision and procrastinating kind of going inward and searching for your own answers, it's going to become a hindrance if you keep worrying and, so you really need to quiet your mind and kind of, once your mind is quieted, then you can let the swords down and you can be more vulnerable and then take the blindfold off. And so you'll see your way while your intuition is kind of guiding you at the same time. Yeah, this is a huge transformation as well, and I feel like you're kind of getting a lot of insight from either people or just your surroundings, and you need a change really badly. So, you're not feeling fulfilled where you are anymore, so just moving forward into that dark, this card does look a bit scary, maybe. I think it looks fun, going off into a dark, cool mountain, that looks exciting to me. And a thing about Gemini too is that they can be very curious. So let your curiosity kind of roam free as you, move forward. Don't let it take you into, use good judgment. Don't be like, ooh, I wonder what that is, and then take it too far if it's not, you need to constantly be listening to that inner voice, which is like, the magician. What comes from above is also coming from below, and it meets in the middle and kind of intertwines. And that's why I think the magician card represents Gemini as well, because you can manipulate things very easily, and it's because proper manipulation, as in manifestation, like the good kind of shit, not the negative type of forces that come from manipulation. The good manipulation comes from, being able to manifest and kind of tap into the mirror of inner and outer and what's above and what's below, and kind of bringing it into the middle. Okay, so in your foundation, so it's like you're kind of emerging from this dark space, this kind of rough patch, and you're realizing it's time to be free again. Something is inspiring you. Some sort of goal you have is inspiring you to be more playful and kind of spread your wings, and you're becoming more attractive too as you do this. But it's not really, if people are attracted to you, obviously they'll come to you, but it doesn't really faze you right now. You're starting to feel more swayed by the wind, so to say, and you're just kind of focused on what you want right now. You're not focused on anyone else, which is good. Maybe you're able to work from home, or maybe you're kind of seeing your home as less of a trap once you get out of your mind so much and you're seeing, oh, I can kind of transform, I can kind of play around a bit and make things work for myself while I have to be here and before I move forward, you know. So it's almost like you missed out on something, like some sort of thing you were passionate about. You saw real potential in it, and it was kind of offered to you, and then you kind of realized before you took on the responsibility of moving forward and, you know, kind of putting your energy towards this new thing, you had to kind of go through this breakthrough and decide what was right for you. And so in the near future, you're kind of, I think when you go through this breakthrough, it's going to allow you to be more patient and kind of allow this thing to grow that you were kind of offered in the past, but you've got more than one thing like this, and you're kind of bringing them all together, and you're waiting for the big opportunity to kind of move forward with it. I feel like something's gonna come to you, but it's like it's all around you at the same time. So from all 4 directions, you need to wait, and you need to be present, and you need to be keeping yourself in check at the same time. So yeah, you want to be able to gather all of these things that you're passionate about and take them somewhere, and you want to present them to this I don't know why this is so funny, but it's like you want to bring all of this passion towards this individual who's quite cold, and it's kind of like you're like, hey, look at all this is so cool, this is what I've been working on for so long, and this person's just like, you know, they have this facade up that's kind of like, oh, whatever. But you know, that doesn't matter. It's just funny, you know, just because I feel like you have this kind of confidence. It's like, oh, well, whatever, and you keep moving forward. And they just kind of stay and they just keep waiting because they're not, I think they're a little too cold to receive this at the moment, but I don't know, it's just kind of cute. Yeah. So your approach is, it just all kind of hits you at once. You know, being a character such as this is so much more fulfilling and playful and rewarding to your childlike self than feeling bogged down by past wounds and, people who have hurt you and people's ideas of what you should be doing. And, you gotta throw that all away, take all those swords out, and I feel like you're just gonna be very resilient with this new kind of childlike approach to things. I love this so much, and this is why I love Gemini, because they have this sort of detachment that, if someone's like crying or someone's going through a really rough time, Gemini will come along and be like, hey, and they'll make a joke. It'll kind of like cheer people up, because, they have that ability to be sort of detached, and they're kind of like, the jester of the deck. And that's what makes Gemini so beautiful, I think they're just brought to this world to make us all laugh. That's my thought, at least. But yeah, don't get too caught up in worries or ideas of other people based around how they think you should be doing things, because that's counterproductive, it's counterintuitive when you're in this space of being so tapped into your, this childlike innocence and curiosity for what's to come. Nothing really bogs you down, and I'm so happy about that. In your environment, things are coming in really quick for you, and it just all sort of comes in at once. You start believing in the power of being childlike again, and it's like there's no turning back from that. No one can bother you again when you just see, people may bother you, but you're not going to get as bogged down by it. And you're kind of taking all of this passion that you have for life that you've turned down maybe in the past because you're afraid to leave your comfort zone of maybe like a certain social group or the confines of your family or whoever was like influencing you the most. You turned down this exciting new project or idea. But now it's like, now that you're seeing the world with this new fresh pair of eyes, it's like your eyes are almost energized, like there's almost like this flame emanating from inside of, like behind your eyes. It's just lighting up the world in front of you, and you're just like, bam, bam. You're getting all of this inspiration, and you're just like, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try that. I don't know where it's gonna land, but this is amazing. And it's almost like you have so much passion, and you have to keep it going to kind of transform and move forward. And it's like coming at you from all directions, and you're like, I don't know what to do with all of this, but let's see how it goes, because it's life and life only, as Bob Dylan would say. He was a Gemini, Life's too short to worry too much. That's your ego talking. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what's needed to know? There's somebody waiting for you. And wow. Yeah, I can feel this in like the bottom of my belly, and it feels nice. It's almost like you're going from, you know, this cold person who's like, you're never enough, you're never enough, you're never enough, and that's their problem. And it's causing this fear of, you know, what if I go to show what I'm all about to someone and they receive me in this cold type of way, you know. It makes, you know, the horizons of the future kind of uncertain and a little bit intimidating. It's like, with this new pair of eyes, you feel this, you know, you're gonna meet so many beautiful people who are like on the same level as you, and it's great. And the horizon, once you get closer to it, it's like you start to feel more connected with yourself, and with, because other people are accepting you. This new you who was like the real you deep down all along, but it was just kind of you put boundaries around it because you want to protect your, you know, you're very sensitive, you didn't want to get hurt anymore. But now that you don't really care so much and you realize that your feelings are more important than others, in like a good way, you know what I mean, not like a selfish way. This is really, really beautiful, these two cards together. It's like you start receiving all of this, you know, all of these people are coming at you with love, like real love, and it matches this excited passion for life that you have moving forward, and it just makes everything feel so, you know, this is what you've wanted for so long, and it's finally happening. Like, yeah, that's really cool. And the outcome, it's like you can finally make ends meet, and it's not like a negative and a positive anymore. It's kind of just like transcending the polarities, and positive forces kind of meet all together, and it's like it's kind of it kind of like crystallizes and creates this new milestone in your life, and it's like now you have this new foundation. And the other one sort of, it kind of disappears and disintegrates in the dusk, like in the old horizon. And you know, these cups are broken. There's no sense in trying to put them back together anymore, Because what are they gonna be, just for show? Is it just for the way someone sees them? No, there's no sense, just leave them behind. Eventually they'll crumble and become part of the earth. Once something's broken, it's almost like trust. You can't go back to it again and feel exactly secure. But as you're receiving all of this magic and this play, and you create new roots and new trusts and new alliances, and it's almost like you're making, I don't want to say blood pact and be weird, but it's almost like that, you're letting the past fall and you're rising up with new support, and this is justice for you. You feel like you're more balanced. And it's like the two swords, the decision that you had to make. It's like the two swords get welded together and they create something that lasts forever, like a diamond. And you can see the two tails are kind of about to wrap together, and it's finally, I have a pack I can run with. It's almost like a blood pack, like a wolf pack. If that makes sense. So I'm gonna get a little message from the Winchester deck. Try to read it to the best of my ability. Just gonna wait for one to kind of come out on its own, but no, actually, that one's kind of calling for me. Okay. So the 10 of spades, the 3 of diamonds, and the 10 of diamonds. So I think that would be equivalent to the 10 of swords, the 3 of pentacles, and the 10 of pentacles. So it's like you're just coming. Oh, it's interesting because you had also your approach was the 10 of swords, and you have the 10 of swords here too, which is the 10 of spades. But in this image, it's a bit different. It's like they've just, well, no, I think it kind of conveys the same message. It's like there's these two men and they're in a canoe, and it looks like they're kind of like they're hiding from something. But just around the corner in the horizon is a moose. Oh, so they're not hiding. He's got a gun, so maybe he wants to capture the moose. But it's like he has to be extremely quiet. And the guy behind is kind of like keeping everything level and balanced, so they don't make too much noise. But almost feel like he's gonna jump out of the boat very carefully, and he's gonna go around the rock, and the moose and him are going to make eye contact, even though he's spent so much time preparing to get out of this boat so quietly, so the moose doesn't really notice him, so he can kind of take the moose as prey. But I think when that eye contact comes about, he's gonna realize that this is my friend. I know that sounds like such a silly sort of thing to say, but it was almost like the whole journey to get this moose was worth so much more than it would have been to actually take it home with them, because there's no real way to get a moose in a canoe and take it home, you know. And the moose isn't going to hurt them. It's so far away in the distance that it's just kind of minding its own business, so it's not a real threat. It's like you've been through so many situations that have caused you to be like, oh, I have to be so careful and so sneaky, and it's like, no. The whole journey up to this point was worth it, but you can take a new approach to things and see things from a new sort of angle. And the sun will rise almost in a... Well, the sun rises in a new way every day, even if it's like not visible. It's still rising, it still goes through the same patterns every single day. So once you get home from this journey, you're gonna kind of be contemplating life, and you're gonna be thinking, you're gonna be rethinking your whole life and your whole value system. And you'll realize that you have everything that you need, and that's when the true feeling of fulfillment comes in. It doesn't matter how many things or how many people you have in your circle or whatever. It's like, are these all valuable to me, or are they just things, or are they just people who have this certain type of demeanor or certain type of persona? It's like, do we really flow together well? Yeah, you've got everything you need. Yeah, like my logical brain kind of took over what the message I was actually getting from that card, so it kind of dulled it down a bit, but I started to kind of second guess myself there. But yeah, these are cool cards. And the last little thing I was going to do was get one message from the Aleister Crowley deck. So one message for Gemini, card for Gemini. What does Gemini need to know moving forward with new eyes? So we have Science, Six of Swords, and Failure, which is the Seven of Swords. Oh no, sorry, the Seven of Discs. I'm not very used to this deck. So Mercury in Aquarius and Saturn in Taurus. So this is almost creating a square, because Aquarius and Taurus square each other in, it depends on what degree it's at, but just saying that they're very different. They don't quite support each other, but once the challenge is learned, it was a very insightful point in your life once you've gone through the square kind of aspect, because it doesn't flow very well, and there's certain points you have to kind of bounce around a bit, you know. So it's almost like this anxiety about societal structures, or like I said, groups of people, or like influences of the way things have always been. And it's like you're kind of afraid of thinking, not afraid so much, but you don't know if the structures are gonna fall down if you start thinking outside of the box in your own sort of patterns and creating your own mental structure. But that's always the best way, because we all have something unique to offer to the world. And society doesn't really allow you to think that way. They want you to kind of all be kind of dolled out and, well, not, what is society really? I guess just like external influences that don't quite flow with your own mental processes. They don't support your way of thinking freely, and they kind of don't allow you to flow inside of your own, or outside of their sort of confines. But it's almost, there's just this sort of hexagram, like all of these different patterns, and then you start to see a square, and then inside of the square is a circle. So it's like you want to break out of the square so the circle can kind of enlarge and grow. So it is kind of like letting those old structures kind of collapse, almost like the tower. And it's having faith in yourself, you know, whatever that is, whatever doing whatever it is that kind of allows you to be like, okay, I feel supported from whatever's out there, that creator. I feel supported by the people around me, and I feel supported by my environment as well. And that will kind of allow, this image is very cold, so it's almost like a frost before the first growth, or like before, it's almost like the last frost in spring before the real growth, like before the sun really starts to hit the soil surrounding your spine. Like, it's like your spine is kind of curled. It's kind of protecting itself so it doesn't lose the nourishment it needs. It's kind of protecting that with all it has. But once the circle grows and the sun starts to shine on the soil that's beneath you and supporting you, you feel like you can kind of unwind. And the failure kind of transcends itself and transforms into success, because you've learned that even through a frost, or even through one of the most dark periods you've experienced in your life, growth is still possible. And, you know, like I said, the sun always rises. Even if it's, you know, a cloudy day, it's always still there. It's harder to see, but, you know, like with this new attitude, you have that fire within you at all times, and you can access it whenever you wish to, by realizing that you are in charge of your own destiny. And that's a really beautiful thing, Gemini. So I don't know if that reading was helpful, but it was fun. So thank you for listening, if you've listened this far. And I really hope that you're able to move forward with a new set of eyes and kind of access that childlike innocence and that pureness, that pure flame that you have inside of you, you know, that everyone has inside of them. And, you know, the flame will kind of grow once you meet other flames that are similar and that have fuel to add to your fire, and you'll all kind of like you'll all kind of grow together. It's really beautiful. So thank you. Thanks for listening, if you did.